So what do VCs look for? Just one quick slide. It's probably obvious, but this is the way we like to frame it. Almost every VC will tell you the first point. Passionate entrepreneurs, of course. That's what you have to look for. This one's somewhat unique to us. In other words, I don't know if other venture firms emphasize the second bullet point as much as we do. We really try to find unique ideas, not sure money makers, not yet another great idea that fits in a framework of investment theses that we just roll out over and over again. We're really trying to make every one of our investments one of a kind. And that gives you a lot of ancillary benefits like diversification and things of that sort. And of course, they have to have both a desire and a plausible plan to change the world. Something bold, something brash, not just a arbitrage-seeking opportunist looking to make a quick buck. A lot of these other things you hear about from venture capitalists are, I think, derivative from these core points. And much of our strategy and tactics as a firm derive from this one simple rule, from a Kathy Eisenhardt sense of simple rules that, from which all strategy derives. But one of the things we really look for is disruptive technology. So let me focus on that. Why is that? So I might ask a question to you. Why does a startup exist and why do venture firms exist? Right? They are going up against daunting challenges, right? Undercapitalized, no brand, no market presence, no prior customer relationships. A startup company has everything stacked against them, except for one thing. Usually there's something related to disruption. If it weren't for this, a startup wouldn't win. If you had stasis, stability, and predictability in any given market, you don't tend to see startups. And so it's sort of an obvious point, but one that we like to focus on, that if you don't have something disrupting the marketplace, it's just going to be the big guys getting bigger, right? And so what are those? Here's some examples of ones that we think of, but most of these we can't really invest in any given ongoing strategy, like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I couldn't count on most of these, like structural changes in markets, deregulation, privatization, right? These are great opportunities when they come in certain economies around the world, but you can't count on the next one 20 years from now. I couldn't predict what it might be. Even financial turmoil itself is a form of disruption. It's kind of funny, but some of the companies in our portfolio that are doing the best are in the automotive industry, right? An industry that's just completely disrupted through financial turmoil and all kinds of interesting self-induced injuries around pension plans and what have you that allows the Teslas of the world, or even software companies that sell to auto dealers. They're having a booming business, right? And it's usually some form of disruption that allows the new entrant to come in. Sometimes disruption can come from new channels of distribution. If you think of when Dell first entered competing with Compaq, back when they were like resellers versus direct-to-consumer kinds of channels that were forming for selling computers, it was almost as if Compaq's fate was written on the wall, and sure enough, Dell took the business and the franchise away from Compaq in those early days because of their ability to exploit a new channel of distribution. And if it weren't for that, just being yet another computer manufacturer didn't make the difference. And all the other competitors of Compaq that were classic in the same business through the same channels didn't really have as good a chance. The internet's a classic example of new channel distribution, the most sort of the largest disruption in how you reach customers. And by channel, I just mean what is the method by which a company reaches its customers? Through what intermediary, through what sales channel? Internet's the biggest change in that we've seen. I'm not sure what the next one is, probably something to do with mobility, but I can't predict what the one after that would be. So again, it's great when you find them, but hard to predict a sustainable business. Why will entrepreneurs be around 50 years from now? Why will they be around 100 years from now? I'm not sure which of those I would count on. This one I will count on. Every year, every decade, every century, disruptive technology advances continue, and they compound, and they become more and more powerful. So this is the one that really gets us excited. It may have been in the noise, but it kind of answers the question, why do VCs focus on technology? Why are they doing so few retail deals or so many other parts of the economy that are, service economy is a bigger part of the economy than the goods or physical products? And, why are we in these weird niches, and why does it seem so natural to us to do that? And so unnatural to invest in other areas. It's because this is where we find these disruptive dynamos to sort of glom onto. A lot of the advances tend to be interdisciplinary, which is great when you're at school. You can study many things and think about integrating innovations from one domain into another, where the sort of stovepipe thinking within businesses, within academic disciplines, tends to isolate the thinking. If you can be one of those cross-pollinators, you usually can think of a disruption that hadn't been thought of before. And I might argue that most of the game-changing advances in science tend to come from left field, not from the warmth of the center of the herd, but from some unusual thinker outside of the box. The changes are also nonlinear. It's very hard to make business predictions using straight lines in paper when the curves are exponential, and I think that may be fundamental lack of thinking and lack of use of log paper in business that makes this such a predictable advance for the new entrant, like Apple entering the music business and taking the Walkman franchise from Sony. I mean, you could have predicted flash memory prices and disk drive prices and seen the point when the tape drive was going to disappear. Yet, the incumbents just did nothing about it. They somehow couldn't see that change that would inevitably occur in their business as it went digital.